This is the only two Michelin-star restaurant in Poland, and some even say it's the best in the country. But to be honest, there are things I really don't like here. Interior, the chairs, even the walls. They have seen better days. And still, look at that plate. Oh boy, this restaurant is amazing. This experience completely surprised me. You will see why. We are in Poland, in the city of Krakow. It's a beautiful city full of historic sites and charming medieval vibes. It's easy to get lost in a place like this, but we manage not to. Our restaurant is right here. Bottiglieria, 1881.
Hello.
At first glance, it feels a bit antique and warm. It has a certain vibe, and at first, I don't really like it. But what breaks that feeling are these warm, welcoming smiles. They are well-dressed, cheerful, full of vibrating energy. I really enjoy the tie. It's a nice touch. They are Polish, we are Hungarian. That's a perfect match. We have a saying that translates to Hungarian and Polish, two good friends. The two countries have shown solidarity and goodwill towards each other for centuries. Whether we are friends or strangers, we are always happy to see each other, wherever we meet in the world. But I won't let that cloud my opinion. We quickly received the wine list. There are very nice labels on it, even a couple of heavy hitters. And the Bottigliera selection is also quite impressive.
So Bottigliera, they have Boulanger, Krug. The Krug is nicely priced.
Good evening. Hello, gents. How are you doing?
Good evening.
Then Michal arrives, who is the head sommelier and the general manager. And he presents us the menu.
Basically, we have two menus here to choose from. Overall, there is a full menu called the full experience, and there is a shorter menu called the introduction.
We go for the full.
Fantastic.
I like his character, and he clearly knows what he's doing.
If it's possible, I would love to have a wine pairing where, if it's possible, then you can pick your personal favorites. So not just a wine pairing, but if I can jump and then you can say a price.
Absolutely. I think that will be fun.
Let's hope. But of course, I'm not skipping Krug this time either.
This is the symphony.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wish you a fantastic dinner. Great to have you with us. Hope you have fun. That's the most important, I guess, tonight, just to have a good time.
Thank you.
And enjoy. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Amuse-bouche arrive. The first one is a Giraldo oyster from Normandy, topped with Antonio's Siberian caviar. It's finished with a dressing made from buttermilk and dill.
Perfect quality of oysters. And the dill oil just freshen the things up. Nice one.
A great way to wake up the palate. And the caviar is excellent as well. Fun fact that Poland is one of the largest caviar producers in Europe. Then we move on to the mackerel. I love the ice plate placed inside another plate. It's a cool idea. The mackerel was first cured in salt, then marinated in a homemade sauce. For an extra kick, there is a few drops of homemade ponzu on the side. Next is a modern interpretation of żurek, the traditional Polish sour rice soup. This version is served with a light potato foam on top.
I love the idea of the cup.
Poland is a country of soups and stews after all, just like my home, Hungary.
It's a sensitive expression. We're going to love this place.
Then comes a small bite built around Polish cheese called Burstin. It's been aged for 6 months, so it has a deep, nutty flavor. It's wrapped in a corn pastry, served with marinated kohlrabi, and finished with a slightly sweet clam sauce.
Beautiful flavors.
After that, we get a tomato bite. This is basically tomato in different forms. Tatar, mousse, emulsion, and broth. All made of tomato, served with yellow and red tomato hearts. A beautiful bite with intense flavors. Then comes the egg. Inside there is a small stew of string beans, topped with a comfy egg yolk and the foam made from pickled cucumbers.
I love the different presentations. It's always tricky to find a way when you play it in the Amuse-bouche.
And finally, the last bite. Courgette. Marinated with elderflower vinegar, served with Lovich cream and finished with crispy fried courgette on top.
So beautiful.
This is my favorite bite. I mean, everything was great, but this one for me just stole the show.
The last one is the best.
Lovely bites, great start, and a pretty clear signal that the kitchen isn't going to play it safe tonight. I notice a nice artwork on the menu, and I can tell it's not printed.
So it's not printed here.
No, it is hand painted. We painted according to the season, and each is quite different in the same style, but they change colors according to the weather.
I'm going to copy it.
That's fine.
It's time for my favorite ritual, the bread service. Everything you see here is homemade. The bread is made with the sourdough starter, which is almost 12 years old. We have two types, a classic sourdough and their signature knuckle bread packed with different seeds. And of course, if there is bread, there must be butter. It's whipped and mixed with fermented bread paste, finished with crispy fried onions on top. Do you hear that?
Light acidity, sweetness, little saltiness, umami. It's so good.
Wonderful breads, fresh, super crunchy outside, and packed with lovely flavors. Michal is already on his way with our first wine.
I love this label.
We start with the French one. What it's paired with is a Tatar, but not a classic one.
It's very traditional Polish dish, but this one is quite unusual because it's a mix of Polish beef and Spanish tuna, 1-to-1 ratio.
The seasoning is given by fermented beef trimmings and tomato. And on top we have Rossini black caviar. To tie it all together, we have a sauce made from shallots and fresh tarragon. What could I say? I love this concept. A French wine, beef and tuna, caviar and an exciting sauce. Nothing too complicated, just perfect balance and great combinations.
Alright, gents, it's time for rosé wine.
Then we are served a rosé from 2021. And what arrives alongside the rosé is the Amberjack. It's been lightly cured with salt, brown sugar and red pepper. Then they finish it with the restaurant's own homemade fish garum. It's served with a bright dressing made from sour Polish green apples and walnut oil. Fresh, slightly salty, with deep umami from the garum, and the oil gives it a nutty finish. The chamomile is a lovely touch, it adds elegance. I would love a bit more textures in it, but overall it's a well-balanced, great dish.
I promise to be back, and here I am as well.
I am super happy.
Fantastic.
I'm always happy when I see a sommelier.
Especially when he is carrying a bottle. In this case, that bottle is a Marcel Days Mamburg Grand Cru. Earlier, we saw that the chefs here also step into the service. Our next dish is brought to the table by the head chef himself.
Pierogi is the most famous Polish dish ever, and our head chef will tell you something more about this. Pierogi.
His name is Przemysław Klima. He became interested in cooking as a child. After attending culinary school, he began his career in Polish hotel restaurants. Later he leveled up and joined renowned Polish restaurants to extend his knowledge. His final stages of learning included Noma and Kado. I guess those don't need much introduction. In 2019 he returned to Poland and became co-owner and head chef at Bottiglieria 1881. Just a year later, the restaurant was awarded its first Michelin star, and it quickly became a favorite among food lovers. Then, in 2023, the restaurant did something the country had never seen before. They earned 2 Michelin stars. No one else has achieved that ever since. They remain the only one. And this year, they also took home both Chef of the Year and Sommelier of the Year at Gomio. With that, I think we can say that Chef Klima is one of the defining figures of modern Polish cuisine. Next up is probably the most famous Polish dish, pierogi. This version is filled with chicken, mushrooms, artichoke, cheese and the chicken broth. Then finished with a vengeance sauce, a classic Polish comfort dish paired with a classic French sauce. So let's see what happens when the Polish kitchen meets the French.
This restaurant is amazing.
This combination works incredibly well. I enjoy it very much.
I don't know how the original dish tastes, but this is mind-blowing.
Beautiful textures, rich buttery notes, acidity, umami. And the wine pairing is also fantastic. It starts in a very gentle way, then the acidity kicks in. It just keeps going and going. Wonderful. The next wine is a 2020 French white from Chateau Latour Martillac. The French are the best winemakers, without a doubt. We continue with Trout and saffron. The star of the plate is polished trout, gently cooked at a low temperature. Around it is saffron sauce, and to give it a kick, they use fermented oranges. Saffron might sound unusual here, but it actually has a long history in Poland. It appears in many traditional recipes. That's because a few hundred years ago, major trading routes passed through this region, and Krakow was once one of the key saffron trading centers in Europe. In the center of the table, there is also a small choux pastry filled with smoked pepper and trout mousse. The choux pastry is a perfect bite. Simply perfect. The trout itself is beautifully cooked, and I really like the flavors. But I would have enjoyed just a touch more heat. Other than that, so far I am positively surprised. I have to say, the way they cook here really resonates with me.
I think this is the most interesting wine tonight and the most dangerous because it's not very easygoing and really easy drinking wine.
What comes now is probably the most distinctly Polish item on the menu. There is beetroot and smoked eel. Inside there is a light foam made from sheep's cheese. On top, a little crunch from fresh radish. And of course, we won't miss the caviar here either. A spoonful of Polish Antonius caviar as the final touch. There is a very traditional Polish fermentation called zakwas. The beetroot juice surrounding the eel is made with this technique. I have never tried Polish caviar before, so I will start with that.
It feels young, feels fresh. I miss a little bit of the texture and the nuttiness and the umami, but it's a good one. But it's a light version of caviar.
And the dish itself.
The flavors, the richness of the flavors are just getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And now I can see why they pour this strong wine next to it. And the wine pairing works beautifully.
So far, this restaurant has been a huge surprise. I didn't see it coming. When they asked how I liked it, I couldn't hide my excitement.
For me, that was the. I didn't care about the beetroot. The beetroot was just a spice. Eel was just a spice. But it's beautiful cheesy notes, the umami and the oh boy.
Before the next course, our table setting changes a little. We are given vintage silver forks, and we need to choose a weapon. These are hunter's knives. They are made from naturally shed antlers and reflect the personal passion of the head chef, who is also a hunter himself, which hints that something wild is coming next. Giacomo Borgogno, Barolo from 1982. This is a serious wine. You don't see this anywhere.
Thank you very much for sharing this one.
With pleasure. With pleasure.
I can't express how good the wines are. This video probably doesn't capture it, but I'm really enjoying myself here. The servers, the chefs, everyone is a joy to watch. We weren't wrong about the main course. It is roe deer sirloin. Around the meat there are freshly shaved black truffles, along with fermented vegetable paste and the tartare made from small plums. The meat is served with two sauces. The first is made from the roe deer itself, balanced with a touch of pine vinegar. The other is a Sabayon style, based on cognac and white truffle. In the middle of the table, there is also a small puff pastry bun filled with black pudding. They recommend adding a spoonful of sauce and trying it together with the different elements on the plate. Just by looking at the ingredients, you can tell there will be bold flavors here. And they are bold, indeed. Beautiful, rich aromas, very strong and distinct flavors, and incredibly well-prepared meat. It's so tender that I almost miss having something to really bite into. Plus, I would love some garnish on the side. Vegetables, for example.
I'm going to kindly ask you to give me your napkins, as we are going to change them for the fresh ones, as well as desserts are super clean. Trust me.
A fresh napkin arrives, along with the funny little accessory, a perfume. They make it in-house, and it's designed to bring back childhood memories. A creative idea. I love it. And it actually works.
I have this memory about this cheap bubblegum. It was like a long one with round bubblegums in different colors, and that's what it brings back. I haven't seen that type of bubblegum in like ages.
Now let's see the desserts. In the small bowls, there is a frozen vermouth base mixed with sparkling wine, white currant juice, and unripe grape. It's aromatized with a bit of vanilla and finished with meringue and popping candy. We also have a small dumpling made from cotton candy filled with white chocolate and black lime. The one in the bowl is both bitter and sweet at the same time, and it pops in your mouth. I feel like a child, indeed, and I'm enjoying it just as much. The cotton candy is fun as well, and the chocolate pairs beautifully with the lime. A cool idea. I love it. For dessert, we have a sweet wine, of course, but this one is from 1983. The main dessert arrives on a plate I have never seen before in a Michelin-starred restaurant.
Look at that plate.
What's on it? It's called Memories of Summer. On top, there is a light yogurt crust and a sour cream ice cream with a touch of cardamom. Underneath, you will find white strawberries with raspberry juice and a hint of Sichuan pepper. It's finished tableside with frozen raspberries and fresh herbal flowers. On the side, we have Madeleine made with brown butter. And the recommendation is simple. Eat it like a child at your grandma's table. And one final surprise to end the evening. This precious liquid on the teaspoon is a Tokai Patricius Essentia from 2000. This is one of Hungary's finest products. A real treasure. The petit fours arrive on a plate I know very well. In Poland and Hungary as well, this exact crystal plate was part of almost every grandmother's home. What's on it is a great set of final bites to finish the meal. The total for this experience comes to around 2,300 zloty, which is almost $620. There are a few things here that I really don't like. The interior, the table, the chairs, minor things. That's no one's fault. It's simply a question of money. Since there are no big investors behind this place, they rely entirely on what they earn. That naturally means compromises here and there. But the things they didn't compromise on are the service, the flavors, and the creativity. All of those were fantastic. Everyone did an outstanding job. This is a young team, incredibly passionate and very professional. With someone like Michal leading them, I think they will go very far. I truly admire their dedication, and they deserve huge congratulations. Hats off! Chef Klima and his team managed to showcase the cuisine and tradition of a nation while still making the dishes exciting, delicious, and beautiful. I love the menu from start to finish, and I will gladly go through it again and again. It feels a bit like Anthony Hopkins telling you a story in a quiet basement. No lights, no big set, no stage. And yet, it's incredibly good. And I strongly recommend you to give it a try. I almost forgot. This video has a sponsor, me. Or technically, my Michelin-starred restaurant, 42. So I think it's time for you to visit us in Esztergom. There is a new beautiful room, a new menu, and we are stronger than ever. And we will help you with the transfer and the accommodation if you wish. When you book, leave a note saying champagne. And your evening will begin with a glass of champagne. Book your table now. And that does it for this episode. Thank you for joining me. If you like this video, hit subscribe. See you next time.
You can call me